Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back. My name is John Guerra, and this is another episode of Guerra and Dawn. I said that backwards, usually I say it the other way. But anyways, let's get straight into the episode.
And I can't go on, I can't go on like this, just dwelling on it.
Like this, like
Used to
camera,
be,
this, all this
I can
stuff.
fix these halls and patch these walls, but there's no
Let's get straight into the episode, guys.
All right, it's enough of that. I'm pretty sure the music doesn't even show because of copyright. For some reason, it automatically cuts out the music. Like last episode, I literally had a song playing at the beginning, and I realized when I actually uploaded everything and I started like editing, it cut the music out. So yeah, that was. I guess it knows. It's like, hey, John, we're gonna get copyrighted. Don't do this. Don't do this to us. But anyways, guys, what is up? I was just thinking earlier, like, what if my intro was like me like playing the guitar or something? That'd be so cool, right? Like people like, dang, that guy's so cool. But I can't play the guitar, so that's seems like a pretty big issue. So I guess I don't know if that's gonna happen. Maybe an air guitar, maybe. I don't know. I'll get a new intro going soon. Like not the song. I'll probably keep the song. I like that song. I like what Parsons did with that song. Really good. I appreciate that guy a lot. I love his music. But the intro, like actual, like the way it looks, I'll probably change some of those because they're a little outdated. We look a little different now. Show's grooving a little different now. But what is going on, guys? What is going on? It is the 11th. Actually, by the time this comes out, it'll probably be what, 13th? Monday. I'm on the fall break, baby. Fall break. What is good in the 210? Well, that's where I'm at, the 210, baby. Stuff's getting wild. Stuff's kicking off. Things are getting out of hand. We're getting in the midst of Halloween. I'm about to say it's starting to get a little colder, but honestly, it really isn't. It's midterms week, though. Well, this was midterms week. A lot of people were stressed out. A lot of people were having sleepless nights. They were walking around with just sweat all under their armpits. But let me tell you something about me. I have never had to worry about midterms in college because my degree is not really something that the tests are really difficult on. It's just a lot of stuff you have to remember. It's rhetorical communication and broadcasting, basically. So it's not like something that's like, oh my gosh, I got to study for this math exam and all that. It's like more of, I just got to know this. I got to know that. I got to be able to speak. Got to be able to present about this, present about that. It's like more presenting and like knowing like the definitions of things, the different kinds of communication, all that. So it's not anything crazy. Some of these people out here have some crazy exams. Some people, let me tell you something. Back then, when you had like a test or something, it was like 40 to 60 questions. There was all these questions and it took you like an hour, it took you like 2 hours, all that. I hear these engineer majors, all these people out there in the world, they have exams that are like 3 questions. 3 questions and they have like an hour or 2 to do them. An hour to do 3 questions. How hard are these questions? How hard are these questions? And I told him, I was like, the other day I was with one of my friends. He does engineering, and I looked at his book and I opened it up. I looked in there. I was like, what the? What is this? Is this from the library? Is this from the Forbidden Library or something? I've never seen this kind of stuff before. I was a fish out of water, man. I was a fish out of water. If you were to throw me in a calculus class, an accounting class, anything above basic algebra, I would be a fish out of water. I would be a lamb to the slaughter. That's what I would be. Because there would be no hope. All hope would be lost the second I walk into any kind of advanced math class. All hope would be lost. You could give me 100 questions, 100 different guesses. You could give me 100 attempts. You could give me 100 hints. You could give me curves. You could do whatever you want. I'm not gonna pass. Simple as that. You know, it's a simple reality of things. It's just I'm not gonna pass. I'm just when it comes to science, when it comes to math, when it comes to all those numbers, putting all that stuff and doing all that writing, I just can't do it. It's not who I am. Simple as that. You know, and it's funny because when I was little, math was like my favorite subject. I loved it. I loved math. I loved like just figuring things out. But it's because at the time I didn't have to follow a formula. Well, like you had the basic formulas, you know, how you had like area, all that little jazz. You know, it was nothing too serious. But you got to a lot of times there was different ways to find the answer. Now it's like when you get to the elite stuff, you got to follow these formulas, you got to do all this, do all that, and you got to do it perfectly, or else you're gonna get it wrong. I just don't. I guess I don't like following the rules. I think that's what this is really trying to tell me is I just don't follow the rules. I think that's what this is all about. So if I could imagine if I took like biochem, you know, calculus, accounting, and I had midterms this week, I would probably not be able to sleep either. You know, I'd probably walk around looking like this is going to be my last week. You know, looking like this is it. Because it probably would. Because I'd probably drop the class after because of how bad I tank. Or maybe the professor would walk up to me like, "Hey, John, like, don't do this to yourself. You know, drop the class. Drop the class. I won't count it against you. Just drop the class. Save yourself." And then I just drop every single class and I just stop. I don't know. I don't know. Because I wanted to go to law school when I was like in high school. I wanted to go to law school. That was like something I was thinking about. I wanted to be like a lawyer. I want to be a detective. I really liked criminology, which I still do. But now it's like communication and broadcasting lets me learn about that too, without that being like the main thing. The reason why I do this now is because I just love learning about stuff. I love learning. I love psychology, I love philosophy, and I love learning about criminology, which I think all kind of link in. I think psychology and philosophy, I think that adds into criminology, why people do things, all that kind of stuff. And I'm very fascinated with it. But it's just like my when you put me in front of that kind of stuff, my mind is like, you know, I become like a hot potato. You know, you can't hold me. You can't hold me for too long. You have to keep like tossing me around and stuff. Like if you try to like settle me down and hold me, you're gonna get burned. You know. So yeah, yeah. That's why I don't really stress. I think the hardest thing I have to do for midterms, I got to give a presentation. I got to give a speech about like an event that happened, which was funny because I didn't know what to talk about. You know, I didn't know what event to talk about, but I'm gonna talk about the first fight between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, which I don't like talking about sports and when it comes to like speeches and stuff because I feel like it's more like I don't know. I love talking about other things. But this is kind of like other thing because it's not just a boxing match. I'm talking about the whole depression thing with Tyson Fury, how like he had been on top of the world, beating Klitschko, and then retiring, dropping and losing the belts because he couldn't he was failing all his health tests. And then him drinking a lot, all that, and then him coming all the way back from it. It's a great story. It's a great comeback story, you know? When you look at what happened, Wilder basically telling him stay retired or else, like, "You better stay retired," like, "I'm gonna send him back," all that stuff, and then him coming back, getting knocked out by Wilder in the 12th round and somehow coming back. Yeah, some people say it was a longer count, but hey, maybe the refs knew that there was a story to be told here, baby, so let's tell it. Mm, kinda fired up. What is this? Raise my hand? Does this show my hands raised? I wonder if it shows in the video that I raised my hand. I pressed the video, raised my hand. But yeah, man. Yeah, I've been just kinda like rolling really. The whole editing thing's going. Man, I'm kinda like this past week for me, when it comes to editing with Premiere and all that, it's kind of been basically editing like an idiot one-on-one is what has been happening here. I don't know what's going on in my mind. My mind's gone blank this week when it came to the whole editing, and I'm starting to pick it up. I'm starting to go really quick, but I was just like a total idiot. I was like a moron. You know, I don't know what was going on with me. And like it was funny because when we were in person talking about all this stuff, my mind knows. My mind like knows how to like it knows the specifics of editing and knows what to do and knows the moments when you need to like cut stuff out and knows it, like I know what I'm doing, but it's like you put me on Premiere, my mind was like, uh, I just like I went blank, dude. I went blank for the whole week. So I would constantly text my boss and be like, "Hey, I'm having trouble with this. I'm having trouble with that." And I was like, we were talking all the time. Now I got it under control. I have a good grasp of what I'm doing. But the only thing about Premieres, it's like there's really no AI. It's like basically everything that I want to happen, I gotta make it happen like there myself. I can't just generate stuff, which I like because now it's showing me like how to get in there, you know? For a while, it was like I would send like a robot into the jungle and kind of like let him clean everything up for me. But now it's like there's no robot, you know? It's just me. So I gotta grab my machete, I gotta put on some mosquito spray and I gotta get in there and I gotta start cleaning stuff up. That's what Premiere has been doing. Been making me get in there, get dirty, getting my hands dirty. But yeah, we're starting to get it down. So we'll probably start popping out some videos, man. We'll get hyped up, baby. I get so fired up. I don't know what is wrong with me, honestly. I don't know what is wrong with me. Like I'll be like so tired. I talked about this last episode. I'll be like so tired, and then I don't know where I have so much energy. Like I need to do something. One little thing gets me like hyped up, and it gets me so excited. And when I get excited, I can't just sit. I need to like do stuff, man. So that's like a big thing about me. I might be stupid or something. I'm not sure. But uh yeah, man. Yeah. This made me think. I have a Rubik's Cube right here. You know what was funny, actually? The funny thing about this, when I was at work the other day, like the kids, like they'd be like having like stuff and they play with it and all that. One kid came up to me, he's like, "Hey, do you know how to solve this?" And he's like 7 years old. He gives it to me, right? I'm like, "Oh." What I do a lot of times if I've never solved the Rubik's Cube in my life. Let's get that real quick. Let's say this real quick. I've never solved one of these in my life. As you can tell, I have one here and it's nowhere near being solved. So yeah, I never was able to solve it. I don't know what it is. A lot of things I've just never done. I don't know how to do them. There's a lot of things I don't know how to do. All right. But it never gets to that because I feel like a lot of times people think I know what I'm doing, and I feel like that's a very common misconception is that I know what I'm doing. Let me tell you guys something. A lot of times I don't know what I'm doing. I really don't. But it's like I go with the flow. It's like what happens happens. But anyways, he tossed it to me in my hand, and I was like, "Baby, don't you worry. Look at this." And when I start doing, if I don't know what I'm doing with something, but I know someone is watching me do it, I try to do it fast. So it looks kind of impressive. So I was like, and I remember I heard the kid, he was like, "Oh, it's going fast." So I was like, "Oh yeah, it's definitely working." I was like that, just like doing all that. I was like, "There you go, buddy." And I handed it to him and I was like, "So you see with the format, like somehow like you see like it starts showing white, so it looks like I'm kind of solving it." I was like, "Make sure you line all those up, all right?" And I handed it to him and I was like, "You finish it from here. I started it, you finish it." And I pointed, I was like, "You finish it, boy." Two-man rock band. And he was like, "Oh my gosh." And he started walking away. Probably thought I was cool. But yeah. So yeah, that was a cool thing. And it got me thinking as well, like all like the things, like when you're little. I remember when I was in band, for some reason I've been listening to band music recently. Like I'm talking about actual like band. Like just like the actual like trumpets, drums, all that kind of like band. Like the symphony kind of band. Or is that orchestra? I'm gonna call it symphony, you know? But yeah, because I used to be in band when I was little, and for some reason, a weird thing I do, and it's so weird, is to make myself like, people do things to like let their mind kind of run. For me, there's two things I do. Well, actually, it's one main thing, but I do it in different ways. Is I find rhythm, and it's so weird because it's like people are like, "Oh, what do you know about rhythm?" I know a good amount about rhythm. I create it all the time. Like I'll start like doing like counting, like and I start going like that, or I start counting like that. And then sometimes I like type, but I'm typing it in rhythm. Or a lot of times what I do when I walk, I start going like this in my hand. And I start going like I was walking my fingers like this. And it's like my way of like thinking is I create a tempo. And my mind just like kind of like starts generating with it. It's so weird. It's really, really weird. And when I say it out loud, I feel like there is something wrong with me. But it's like my mind just has weird ways of like correlating and putting stuff together. And like, but it works. 'Cause then my mind starts, like, going, and I start, like, generating, and I just take off. I take off. I'm like a sprinter, you know? That's, like, my countdown, and then my mind, like, catches in the tempo, and it just starts going. But I remember when I was little, I would carry my band stuff with me. I was one of the only kids that really practiced 6th grade year, not freshman year. 6th grade year, I would always take my stuff home every day because I was one of those kids that just, like, tried to do everything right, because I thought that you had to. I still think you do. I think for a good amount of times you have to do things the right way. But I remember I would take my band stuff home and I would play. I'd play the little what was it called? Because we had the drums, the little drumsticks. I think I still have my drumsticks with the little pad, but we had what was it, the maroon bells. What's the maroon bells? I'm gonna call it the maroon bells, but we would have, like, the bells, and, like, you would practice with them. It was, like, the little things, and, like, you would just, like, press on them, and they'll make that little sounds. What is it called? It was, like, in the order of the piano. I forgot what it was called. I'm gonna call it the maroon bells. I'm sorry if I get it wrong. I'm gonna call it the maroon bells. It's been, like, 9 years, guys. Please help me. So I'd be there. I remember when, like, family would be over, I would be all be at my grandma's. I remember I would try to get everyone's attention, and I'd just, like, start practicing because now it just sounds so dumb. I would play Mary Had a Little Lamb like 20 times, and I'd make my whole family listen to it because it would be kinda loud, and I'd be like, "Mm, mm, 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 mm," and like me just pressing them really slow, messing up almost half the time. I played Mary Had a Little Lamb like probably like 20 times in a row, making everyone listen, only hitting like 7 notes right. Imagine that. So I find it kinda funny, like, when you're a kid, and I guess embarrassment wasn't really, I don't know, because embarrassment was a thing, but it was like it wasn't a thing a lot of times. I don't understand, the comprehension of, like, when you're a kid and when embarrassment is, because I think, like, a lot of times, like, obviously, if I did that now, I'd look like a total moron, but it's like, I don't know. I don't know. Embarrassment was just a different thing when you were little. It was a totally different thing. Totally different thing, and I forgot what I was about to say. I was about to say something, and I don't know if it was gonna sound good or not, but, hmm, the first person to really make me cry on a consistent base was my 6th grade band teacher, Mr. Trevino. He was like the dude. He was like the man, the man that ran the place. He used to have some good comebacks, man, but he had, like, an accent. So, it was, like, strong at you, and he would, like, lean over and look at you, and he'd start yelling in your face, and I remember, oh, he'd make me cry so much because we would practice the drummings, and I would practice a lot, but it was like, you're not good when you first start because you don't know what you're doing. So I remember I'd be, like, practicing the drums, and he would always tell me, like, whenever we were all playing and you messed up a note, he would turn and he'd look right at you, and he would stop, and he would walk up to you, and he'd be like, "Play it again." And, if you messed up, he would start yelling at you. Oh, and sometimes when, he couldn't tell who was playing wrong, he was really good. He couldn't tell who was playing wrong, he would make all of us play one by one, and if we messed up, he would be like, "Ah, so it's you." And if we lied, if we were like, "Oh, no," like, if we'd say, like, we were playing wrong, he'd, like, tell us to play it again. And if you played it wrong, he would yell at you, he'd be like, he would say, like, let's say it was me, he was like, "John, don't turn my band hall into a chamber of lies." And he would, like, throw something, dude, band would get wild. Band would get wild. Like, I remember, our, yeah, I remember, man, they would start throwing stuff. Our teachers and band would start throwing things. Like, they would, like, grab, like, one of the markers or something and throw it at you. It would get vicious, man. Like, they would throw, like, one of the drums over. He would grab the sticks and throw them. They would get so mad. And it, like, makes me think now because I don't know if you can still do that. I don't know if you could have done it back then. This was, like, what, 2016, 2017. But, like, I don't know, I think now it'd be a big problem if someone, like, threw, like, if a teacher threw, like, a marker or, like, drumsticks at a student. But back then, it was, like, rage. It was like a rage war, man. But it's like it made me, I don't know, it takes a lot for me to, like, cry, like, for someone to make me cry. I don't think someone could really make me cry, 'cause I had so many moments where people were yelling in my face, like, during, like, baseball or band. People would yell in my face and say, like, pretty, like, they would say some, well, they would say some pretty degrading things to me, and, like, it would make me kinda like, ugh. I cried then. Yeah, of course, I cried a lot. Like, I remember my baseball coach would make me cry, and then during band, Trevino would make me cry, and I was like, oh, I'd feel so embarrassed because 'cause I'd just be like, I'd get so emotional, man. So now it's like people could, like, yell in my face and stuff, and I'm kinda, like, numb to it because it's like the stuff that I don't know. It's crazy because I don't know if you can still do that. I know nowadays it's like you can't say as much as you used to, and it makes me think even, like I was talking to my friend about this yesterday. Even right before I started going to school, a little times before that, I guess, I don't know how long ago, that's when the teachers were able to, like, spank students with, like, rulers and stuff. So I'm trying to imagine, like, imagine that, dude. Imagine that if I was during that time period too. Because the 2000s, you were able to say whatever, basically. Like, I met this international kid yesterday as well, and he's from Vietnam, and he was telling me, he was like, the biggest thing about America, that the big difference to him is that here in America, people joke and, like, they say whatever they wanna say. And it's like you could say all these things, and like he said in Vietnam, a lot of this stuff would have been very offensive to say, and you can't say that. And I was like, dude, like imagine like things. This is probably the most strict when it comes to like talking that things have ever been. Like you can't say a lot of things right now. Like yeah, these past like year or two, you cannot say a lot of things. But if we go like 10, 12 when I was little, and I remember all the things I would hear people say were horrendous. Like, you could say if you think you could say whatever now, go back to, like, the 2010s, 2000s, 2010s, you could say whatever you want. Like, people would say everything. I would watch YouTube videos growing up, and the things that people would joke about were absurd. They were absurd. It was crazy. It was actually insane. And, like, you never acknowledge it, and you're never like, "Oh, man, like, that's horrible. You shouldn't be saying that." It's just kinda like something you would, like, kinda laugh about a little bit, and then you move on. But now it's like, when you look back at it, it's just crazy. It's really crazy, the things that you can say. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know what you can really do anymore, man. I don't know what you can really do because you can't really yell at the kids. Like, you can't really yell at them. So I'm thinking like, dang, like back then they would yell in our face, they would degrade us and all that. They would throw stuff at us. And now it's like, even if like you yell at a kid too much, the parents gonna get mad, and then it's like you can't do that anymore. Because we have one kid that we coach who would complain that like we were getting mad at them and like we were individually getting mad at them. And now we can't even get mad at them. Like the mom will complain so much that we cannot get mad at them at all. And that to me is insane. That to me is insane. It's like, dang, like, so what power do we have? We're supposed to be the adult, we're supposed to be the authority figure, and we can't even, like, get after them for doing something wrong. So then what am I here for? Just to take care of them? I don't think you can really take care of someone if you can't get after them, you know? Because then I'm basically just being your friend the whole time, and I don't think that you can be someone's friend and still be like I mean, you can, but you can't just say good things to someone all the time. You have to be able to be like, "Hey, you can't do that." Like, "Hey, you crossed the line here." You know? Yeah, sorry, I ran it a little bit there, but it's just when I think about, like there's just so much to think about. There's so much to think about because it's like the world is becoming I don't wanna get too much into it, but I think that a lot of things are kinda being halted now, and, like, it's trying to be like the everyone's trying to keep everyone in a comfortable position to where, you're not feel like you're being, like everyone's trying to make everyone just to be comfortable, I don't think good things happen when you're comfortable all the time. I think greatest moments of your life happen when you step out of your comfort zone. And that's why I love doing this because, like, yeah, I'm comfortable, but a lot of times it makes me uncomfortable. Makes me go into certain like realms I've never been in before. So yeah, I don't know. Some people just won't agree with me, and I get that. I understand. I understand, man. Like if you don't agree with me, you don't agree with me. It is what it is. If I'm openly telling you my opinion, then who am I to not take your opinion? What does that make me? And that's the only thing I really think now is that people are just aren't open minded, you know. And I try not to talk about this kind of stuff. I try to keep things, all jokingly and stuff. And I am in a few seconds. We'll move on from this, but I think that's just a big issue now is that people are not open minded. I think everyone just thinks that their opinion's right. I think that no one, well, even opinion. I don't think anyone believes that opinion anymore. I don't think anyone believes in opinions. I think everyone's just like either it's right or it's wrong, and that we always have to have a label to it. That there's no way I'm kind of right and you're kind of right. Either I'm right and you're wrong, or you're wrong and I'm right. So either way, I'm right. Like no one ever wants to admit that they're wrong. No one wants to ever be like, oh well, I believe this, you believe that. It's okay. That's just not a thing. Everyone wants to be separated. But I just hope that everyone just becomes more open-minded, man. That's the only thing I really have to say about anything is like that's my answer to everything. Whenever someone's asking me like, "What do you think about this? What do you think about all this? What do you think about like anything that kind of like creates any kind of division?" All I ever have to say is, I just hope people are more open-minded. I hope that you could agree to disagree. You know? But yeah, man. I'm trying to. I remember when I was a kid and like how crazy things were. How wild. You could say whatever you want to say. Dang, that's the crazy thing about the idea of that. But anyways, guys, I've been blabbering for a while. I didn't even notice we were already at the 25-minute mark. We've been hitting hard and we've been hitting far. I'll talk to y'all next time. Who knows? I might put up another one this week. I don't know. We gotta edit. We gotta do all this stuff. Busy times out here in the 210. But anyways, guys, we're about to hit the outro. Let's hit it with the
Burning memories till they